Hey everyone, this is going to be my little review of Makoto Shinkai's latest work and why I think it's his worst entry to date. Yeah, I know that's kind of a harsh thing to say, but I think it has to be said. Uh, when you have a film that is a giant advertisement, doesn't respect the viewer's time, doesn't develop the love that you slap on the end, you're kind of leaving yourself open to some insult. So we have this story where there are portals opening around Japan, and this giant worm's coming out. Normal people can't see it, but main characters can because reasons. And if the worm reaches the Earth, disaster strikes, and that's personified by earthquakes, storms, things of that nature. Uh, I'll kind of bring that up a little later. One of my first big issues that kind of stick out is it feels like a giant advertisement for Japan, Nissan, McDonald's, and Uber Eats. Now, why do I say that? They are traveling around Japan, sealing doors, but all the while there's a cat on that people are taking photos of and posting them on Instagram of different local landmarks in Japan, which I can't help but consider a straight ad. It's not adding to the story, it's not developing anything. It's just showing off the pretty places in Japan, which is fine and all if it didn't consist of so much of the movie. Uh, where we do have a 2 hour runtime, but none of that runtime is really used on the characters or the story, and that's just disappointing. What we do get is a 5 minute McDonald's ad where a random nice lady picks her up and takes her to McDonald's on her way to another prefecture. Uh, and the camera is not even focused on the characters, it's focused on the action of these two kids in the back of the car. And what are they playing with? McDonald's like packaging. So it's kind of off putting. And, you know, I understand films got to make money, you got to have your advertisement and everything, but there's a way to put it in the story without making it the story, and I think they really uh, egg on their face on this one. Then we had the multiple cuts to Uber Eats. You'd see a guy walking with a big old bag of Uber Eats on his back, very prominently displayed, with the camera, of course, drawing your eye to that, given it's the one black thing in a sea of like white shirts and everything. So just kind of gross. Uh, Again, have it blend into the crowd, but drawing your attention like that when we barely know anything about the characters still at this point, and this is like 80% of the way through the film, kind of silly. Uh, but let's go into why I think this was just a committee think film. We've got a young teenage girl. We've got cats. We've got the constant Miyazaki references, which honestly feel like begging for attention after the multiple ones that there are. We also get the little food montages, which, of course, we've all seen on Twitter, Instagram, and everything. Of wow, look how good the food looks in anime. But it's one thing to do it like here and there, like Pepper, but he dumps the whole thing out on the film. I think there's like 5 or 6 or 7 different like food scenes, and we still barely know anything about the characters. We have no idea what their motivations are. Uh, we have no idea what this worm even represents. That's like destroying this Tokyo and everything. And yeah, it's just it doesn't feel like there is a single direction. This is where we want to go. This is the story we want to tell. This feels like a committee thing film. And yeah, there's committees for every film, but you still have your director that kind of spearheads everything. This does not feel like it has a spearhead at all. It feels very blunt. Uh, and that goes into my next thing. I don't believe this respected the viewer's time at all. We have a 2 hour runtime. He doesn't teach us about these characters. Uh, for some reason, they decided to turn one of the main characters into a three-legged chair. I'm sure you've all seen the little Twitter thing or on YouTube or whatnot. And they don't really give a good reason why at the end. They give like a very loose, oh, this was a memento for my mother, but it does nothing for the story. It actually takes away from the story. Because instead of us learning about this other character, main character, Suzume, the girl, and then we have, what's his name? Sota. We have Sota. Sota turns into this chair for most of the film and becomes background. He actually becomes background. And it's just disappointing because we get to know nothing about him. Why is he doing this? Who are these closers? They mention he's part of this group called Closers, but we get really no development on that. We meet his grandfather for some reason. And yeah, his grandfather's a grumpy old man who, yeah, just kind of disappointing. Uh, I think there was many ways that we could have had him actually represented in the story, and some things they could have done to actually make it seem like there's stakes to be had. Towards the end, spoilers. Again, spoiler warning. This is my first video, so my bad. Uh, he, in his chair form, he turns into like the catalyst, the keystone that will prevent further disasters from occurring, that are personified by this worm that comes out. So he turns into Keystone to prevent all that. And he turns to like Crystal as well. But it just makes you think after the film, why not just have him be a human and he's slowly crystallizing throughout the film to show that they have to get his body back to its normal state while trying to protect Japan, I guess, from all these disasters. Uh, yeah, that's my thought on that. Then we do have uh, this love story that I guess they're trying to say it's a love story, but I don't believe it is. They go through almost the entire story barely talking to each other outside of the mission they're trying to accomplish. They have very little small talk, and if they do, it's incredibly shallow and doesn't really tell you who they are. Uh, and another thing about the viewer, just respecting viewers' time, like I'm hoping I'm trying to do at least right now. Uh, we have like almost a 10, 20 minute, I don't know if it was 30 minute, it really felt that long though, road trip where almost nothing happens outside of a side character playing random classic J-pop songs, and it just like drags the film. It it really makes you think, where was the editor on this? Why wasn't he the one to say no, we have to cut this? There's no reason to have them just in the car listening to classic J-pop music. Not even just like one song. They do like 3 or 4 different songs. And it's like, why are you showing us this? What is this telling us about the story? What is this telling like us about the characters? Like, is this developing the side character that like doesn't really do anything for the film? Uh, but yeah, just kind of nonsense. Just really a lot of nonsense in this film, and I think they could have done something, but honestly, he already told this story. And do you know what movie he told it in? He told it in this film, Hoshiwo Kodomo. It's literally this film, but better. You learn about the characters, you learn about what they're doing and why they're doing it, like, to a degree. It's not perfect, but he's literally already told this story. He's just aging the characters. He plagiarized himself. And that just seems really weird. But this film actually felt like it had a lot of heart. And you know what you don't see? You don't see McDonald's, you don't see Uber Eats, you don't see Nissan cars, you don't see Instagram, you don't see any of this nonsense. You see a film that's telling a story. And you know what? I wish he'd go back to that because, damn it, he can tell a good story. We saw it in Garden of Words. We saw it in, of course, 5 centimeters per second. I believe he saw it in this one. But this recent film, just not a winner at all. Uh, I hope in the future he. I still want him to produce more stuff, but I really hope he either like grabs the reins from the committee or really thinks about putting out a story instead of just a teenage girl, some kind of cat, a bunch of style, and no substance. Because he can do better than that. Anyway, that concludes my review. It's pretty messy overall, but I want to put it out there. Have a great one, and yeah.